Hopefully Don't Shoot is still in the chat, because I want to show him this game. Because it's quite out there.
All my life, I've felt helpless, cheated, stepped on. I was always the little man, the square peg, the forgotten one. But that night, everything was gonna change. I was tired of just sitting around, accepting my fate. A rat hole apartment, a dead-end job. So I decided to do something about it.
Are you guys getting lag?
I had the perfect plan. My destination, untrackable. The stolen cash, untraceable. I'd simply disappear into the night. But of course there was a hitch, a fly in the ointment, or should I say roach.
How small the screen is.
All packed and ready. Tickets, passport, a change of clothes. I was no longer the victim. This time, I was in control. By sunrise, I'd be on a plane to Mexico, with a big smile on my face and a small fortune nestled at my feet. If it wasn't for my idiot landlord, I'd be there right now, sipping margaritas and basking in the warm glow of a job well done.
Who is it? What do you think it is, sweetheart? Your fairy godmother?
F&B acting is the fucking shittest.
You got some nerve coming up here at this hour, Eddie.
Where's my freaking rent, Sam's?
You'll get the rent in the morning.
Your rent's 3 days late. I'll take it now.
Don't push me, old man. I said you'll get it in the morning.
Looks like you're packing up for a trip. You skipping out on me?
Yeah, I'm skipping out. Look, if I pay you now, will you get the hell out of here and leave me alone?
Sure, sweetheart. Sure, I'll leave you alone.
All right, now go back downstairs to that roach-infested hovel you call a room, and don't bother me again.
It's an awful lot of money to have laying around in this neighborhood, and your door's open. Maybe next time, you might want to lock it, huh?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good advice, Eddie.
This guy's just great. Look at his eyes. That's a horrendous haircut as well, I've got to be honest.
There you are. Something crazy happened when I looked at that necklace. That strange locket that was supposed to be my mother's. A weird feeling, like a twisted spell. Bad mojo. My brain reeled, my knees buckled, And then there was black. The warm and somehow comforting feeling of darkness. A long and perilous detour into the night of my soul.
Oh, what a game. Yeah, this is the protagonist. It's a cockroach. That music sounds like the old school Golden Harvest logo. Right. Josh actually plugged in a 360 controller, expecting himself to be able to play on a controller. I'm like, this game came out in like 1996 or something. There's no way. Yeah. Right, so we are playing obviously as a cockroach, which is so bizarre. Again, I don't know who this game was for, but I like it. It's very different. We did dabble in this a couple of months ago. We didn't really get very far though. We were just looking at it. But we've played quite a few kind of weird... What's happening here? Oh, this is gaming, exactly. You didn't expect to play this type of game, would you?
The wind whale will suck you into the belly of a beast. Its blowhole will catapult you to the south and to the east. One way there is peril, hardship, and dismay. One way brings you closer to the Dominican cachet.
It's
But
got
there
like
is another
Dr. Zeus
option,
rhymes in it as
another
well.
clever tack. You may evade the wind machine with a bold high wire act.
Why is it rhymed? Why are we playing as a fucking cockroach? I don't understand. Who this game is so weird. Alright, we're saving our game. Yeah. We put a save down. The way this game works is that it kind of opens like a file. Oh, we've seen this already. Can you press? I wonder if any of these actors worked again after this. Probably not. I'll tell you what though, the main guy though, like, has turned into a cockroach. He was hilarious. There's something charming about these old school like 2D games though. What genre does this fall into? How would you classify this game? Would you say platformer? The closest games I can think of is like the Abe's Odyssey games and the Heart of Darkness, which was, again, was a pretty well made 2D puzzle platformer. But it's so bizarre, this game. Look how disgusting it is. It's like real world. That is fucking horrible. Look at this giant rat we're climbing on. You can't beat it. I think we're probably, Josh, the only people in the world that's played this in the last like couple of years. That's disgusting, isn't it? Oh, spiders. Do you know what? That spider was dead in the trap. Looks exact. That is disgusting. So this spider will kill us, so we got to bait it with a cigarette. Come on, Josh. Oh, fuck's sake. All those games are called narrative adventure games, I think. Is that what it is? I don't know that. Alright, come on, Josh. Turn that cigarette. We've got a... Yes. There you greatest game of all time. This game did it before Limbo. Oh, I don't remember seeing this scene. There's a dead rat here. This is disgusting. As dirty and grimy as Manon is, I think it's got nothing on Bad Mojo. Bad Mojo's a little bit too real. Oh, we're in Cockroach Coral. It's a disgusting bug trap. Oh, what happened? You died? How many lives you got left? Okay. Okay. So if you touch the pink stuff, you're dead, ain't you? Well, there's still a living cockroach there. What is that you're pushing? Looks like some sort of maggot? A maggot or something? Some sort of larva? Yeah, a makeshift passageway. I tell you what, when I saw this game for the first time though, just before we started playing it, I looked at it and thought, what the hell is this game? Why haven't I heard of this game before? It's a game you would have thought people would have been talking about because of how unique it is, but it just isn't. You couldn't really solve this though, could you? Like, playing as a cockroach. People want to play as Master Chief or like Zelda or Link or whatever, or Mario, but like a cockroach is like, I don't know what they were thinking when they pitched this idea for a game.
Just what animals will be allowed to be used in the labs, along with...
I love these shitty FMVs as well, scattered throughout. It's cool as hell.
The forecast, showers and thunderstorms today with strong southwesterly winds to 37 miles per hour. We'll have a high of 59 degrees with the temperature dropping rapidly towards this evening. The showers and thunderstorms expected to continue into tomorrow morning. The overnight low, 58. Rain tapering...
Damn radio. Hey, Franz. Come here, boy.
That cat is definitely going to be a boss later, I reckon.
That bastard Sam's. What a pain in the ass. Looks like I'm gonna have to get a new tenant. Damn. Come on, Francie. You can help me paint the bathroom, huh?
What did he say? You could help me paint the bathroom? Did I mishear that? Wonder what you get paid for something like this. £100? It's probably like £99 too generous. But how would you market this game though? What would you say in the magazine? Do you want to play as a cockroach? You've ever wondered what it is like life's like through the eyes of a cockroach? Going through a bug-infested world, you know, avoiding real-life environments. Oh, vacuum. Yeah. So we're gonna get sucked up into the vacuum. All right. Oh shit! I like how there's game over FMV scenes. Is this level 1 again, or is this a new area? Oh, this is a new area, I think, actually. I actually don't know what's happening. This is the start of the game, isn't it? Is it not? Huh? What's with this? I don't understand what I'm saying. I don't know why it's obscured. I don't understand. Funds missing in bug spray research scam. Vice Squad. She ticked like a time bomb. Are you controlling this, or is this a... I feel like we're not supposed to be here. Dr. Dose. Can we go inside the bottle? The black square was very bizarre. Yeah, it kind of was. That is minging. Josh, did you see that food on the table? It looks ultra realistic as well, like it's a real picture. I don't know where we're going, because when we first dabbled in this, we kind of turned the vacuum power off, but we've gone a different route now. I don't know where we are headed. I have absolutely no clue. Right, this is a real adventure, isn't it? This is a real world adventure. Who needs to go to Mars or something when you can just like live through the, you know, the body of a cockroach? There isn't much direction though, is there, in this game? It's just like they just plop you into this world. I don't know where we are. We've got to try and take enjoyment out of just like investigating this disgusting garage. This wasn't what we did the first time we tried this game. No, we didn't actually get blown off. Maybe there's alternative paths. Maybe there's multiple endings. I know. That is vile. You think this stuff like in Manhunt's gruesome, isn't it? When you're like hacking people's heads off with a machete, but there's something more gross about this. It is a disgusting bed. The thing is, I can't actually open up a guide because I've got the chat open on my phone, so I can't really kind of do two things at one time. So I can read, get a guide ready. It's got. I should explain this. It actually has tank control, so you got to press up to move, and you kind of spin like a tank, as you can see. Josh is opening up a guide anyway, just so we get like a little general idea where we're meant to be going. Right. I got a guide open for this fucking game. Alright. This is such a strange game. Turn off the vacuum. Okay, are we on the vacuum yet? Alright, it says to turn off the vacuum, go down one screen and then go left until you reach the end of the workbench. Climb down the workbench leg and go right at crossbar until you reach the drooping vacuum wires above the paint can. Climb down the wire until your weight forces it to hit the paint and short the vacuum. Okay, I'm watching this. Oh shit, he fell off the... He fell off it. Josh actually blew up. Josh lost literally all our lives at the start of the game. You doing all that again? Oh god. Okay. Climb down the wire until your weight forces it to hit the paint and short the vacuum. Okay. Climb down the wire until you wait for it to hit the paint and short the vacuum. Go back up the table and crawl past the plug until you reach the vacuum hose. Follow the hose to coil. Alright, I'll leave it there until you reach that part. Josh needs to be very, very precise. Do you have to go down the right one instead? No. Try going down the right one. Remember you doing this. Ah, friggin' hell. No worries. Yeah. Wish I was built on cheats for like infinite lives. For a game that came out in what, late 90s or mid 90s, whatever. Careful. God, how precise you need to be. Oh my goodness. Ooh, it looks horrid. One false move, one tiny click, and you're dead. I think you got to come down the right one. If I remember correctly, that's what we did when we first played this. Wow, that is harsh. That is really harsh. Okay, climb down the wire until your weight forces it to hit the paint and short the vacuum. So yeah, it's there.
So it's not just one time, exactly. You have to do multiple times, right? Because we moved it once.
I don't know, just like make it down there.
So is that it, or do you have to redo it?
We could try and do it again.
Right, if you don't even move forward, unless you get up.
Oh, he's in.
I guess that's it.
I think. Huh? Why did that bounce back out? Maybe you gotta go up the right one afterwards? God, Josh is absolutely so tense right now.
I'm pressing up.
I don't know. So you reach the drooping vacuum wires above the paint can. Climb down the wire until your weight forces it to hit the paint and short the vacuum. Maybe it's probably shorted the vacuum already. Don't shoot. It's just the most riveting, intriguing game you've ever seen in your life. We're a cockroach trying to push a wire into a fucking paint can to short a vacuum. Other people are saving the planet in the world. This is so stupid. I'm guessing it shorted the vacuum now. It doesn't give you a cue though, does it?
Wait, do we have to put the vacuum first?
Oh, trigger the vacuum off. Of course, you haven't triggered it, have you? You probably haven't triggered it off. That's probably what it is.
Just what animals will be allowed to be used.
At least it has skippable FMVs. Alright, now we need to turn that vacuum off. Go back to where you came, innit? Yeah. Job done. Right then, Josh. Okay. Go back up to the table and crawl past the plug until you reach the vacuum hose. Follow hose to coil. Follow coil into garbage can and traverse until you reach paint table. I think you got, yeah, you climb down the hose. Oh, there's a garbage can. Yeah, I'll read a bit more. Because I got half my eyes are on your screen and half of it's on the writing, so. Sorry, gotta go. Got work in the morning. It was cool seeing this though. I wish I could stay longer. Oh, you're very welcome. I've tried to enjoy work. I know it's impossible, but yeah, I had to show you this game just because it's just something like that probably shouldn't exist. You're going, who is this game for? It's so bizarre. Anyway, take it easy and I'll see you soon, I hope. Alright, Josh, I'll keep reading this stuff to you, alright? Follow hose to coil, follow coil into garbage can and traverse until you reach the paint table. Go down one screen, then climb across the paintbrush and through the hole in the table. Do you know what I might do? I can actually click on the text so I know exactly where I left off. That's a better way to do it. So when I'm looking at everything, I can keep a tab on it. Alright. Go down. It says go down one screen, then climb across the paintbrush and through the hole in the table. Oh. Ryder, how are you? Ryder's back in the house. Welcome back to the cockroach game. Your perfect timing. Yeah, it says go down one screen, then climb across the paintbrush and through the hole in the table. Find that paintbrush. I'm good, weird ass game. It is a bit weird, isn't it? Why does this game exist is my question. I can't figure this game out. I don't know why it exists. Okay. Okay, go down one screen, then climb across the paintbrush and through the hole in the table. Then it says, go down one screen and exit through the other hole in the bottom of the table. Where is the hole in the table? That's my question. Can you walk across the paint? The fever dream experience, it is. You actually the start of the game with a really corny ass FMV. Yeah. I'm reading it verbatim as well. Okay, I'll read it again. Follow coil into garbage can, traverse into reach the paint table. Go down one screen, then climb across the paintbrush and through hole in table. Where is hole in table? Is that the hole in table? Ah, there it is. It's hidden. Go down one screen and exit through the hole in the bottom of table. It's like this guy's cutting off simple words to make it faster. There's another hole in table somewhere. Where it is, I don't know. Once I'm done with school and shit, I'll try out Silent Hill 2 on my PS3. Good man, very good man. Is a Silent Hill 2, amazing game. Oh god, but don't play the remastered. The problem is, if you play the PS3 version, that's the fucking remastered version, isn't it? Which is really bad. What I would recommend you do, if you can, if you have like even a remotely decent laptop, well, it doesn't even have to be that good, is download Silent Hill 2 and play the enhanced edition, which is amazing. All right. Go down one screen, exit through the other hole in the table. Go down one screen, right one, and then climb across the paint stick to fuse box. Is that a I don't think this is a fuse box. Is that a fuse box? That's a file, isn't it? Okay. Go to the right fuse box and meter. The first meter is always set to 7. Cool. Okay. This game just lets you just get on with it. It's like, here's the world, you figure it all out. Set to 7. I'm not seeing any numbers here. I don't think this is a fuse box. I don't know what this is, but it doesn't look like a fuse box. Go down one screen and exit through the other hole in the table. Go down one screen, right one, and then climb across the paint stick to fuse box. Have you walked across a paint stick? Is that a paint stick? Is that actually a paint stick that you're climbing on there? It might actually be. Yeah, maybe it is a paint stick. Apparently the economy has went down to red arrows. Good thing I'm not an entrepreneur. Very true. Trump's tariffs. Right. Go back and forth across the bottom 3 fuses until the meter reads 7658. That was those things you're tagging earlier, I think. Back. Welcome back, Oddie. How do we get a meter reading exactly? How do we see the numbers? Can you climb down that? That's the paint stick. Yeah. Go down one screen, right one, and then climb across the paint stick to fuse box. What? Oh my, Judge, he just got ate by a cat. Do cats eat cockroaches? I don't think they do. They might play with it. I don't think a cat would eat a cockroach. Yeah, me neither. I'm learning something new every day. So apparently cats eat cockroaches. It's first for me. What is this game? That's what I want to know. I don't understand it. It's weird as fuck. The first meter is always set to 7. Call back and forth across the 3 fuses until the meter reads 7658. Okay. I was wondering what that noise was. It was a cat tempting you into like the hole. Cats will also eat their kittens if they die of sickness. I learned that the hard way. Ugh. That's pretty disgusting. I know dogs do that when they're it's a lottery ticket. I know dogs do that as well. Like if they give birth and like something comes out of the stillborn, now they will eat it. It's disgusting. A lot of dough. It doesn't say anything about a lottery ticket here. We're going down someone's shoes. Do you know what we could do is actually open a guide on YouTube and watch the YouTube guide? I think what we should do is, yeah, do you have YouTube app on your phone? Josh has a Zangief picture as his fucking screensaver on his phone. Right. Bad Mojo speedrun. Okay, it's gonna have to be Bad Mojo speedrun.
Mr. Petito, your
Oh,
wife's
what's
going
happening
into
here?
labor. Doctor, I think she's in trouble.
Get me a tube of blood out of her eye. Jesus! We got an abruptio placenta here.
What is going on now?
We're losing her. She's gone.
Damn it! All right, save the baby. I'm gonna cut.
This is the most it's a toy!
I see you. Stab. Damn it! Mr. Petito, I'm sorry. Your wife is dead. But we did manage to save the baby.
But I managed to save the baby. What? We were the baby. So our mum are... Oh my god, what is going on with the story? One morning I went back to check on my cat that gave birth like half a month ago. I was shocked when I saw one of the kittens half eaten. Only thing left of it was the legs and stomach. Jeez, that is disgusting. It kind of suits the theme of this game though, you know, we are dealing with grime and disgusting stuff, so I guess we could talk about that kind of stuff. This is the most gross stream we've done. Right, I'm watching Bad Mojo speedrun. What's that noise? That cat is below you, I can hear him. You're gonna see some cat paws scratching at the wall in a minute. There's a 19-minute speed run. What? Gives across hammer. Oh, it moves that way. How the fuck is a game where you play as a roach have a story? That's a good point. I don't know, but for some reason it does have one. I don't think it really needs a story, just play as a cockroach in it, but we're actually a person, by the way, that's been put inside a roach's body. This game has multiple paths, which is quite interesting. So we're watching a speed run. I'm just going to explain what we're saying. This guy's doing the speed runs, tampering with those switches, and there's a certain pattern you need to do in order to make it work. Okay. I bloody hate roaches. They startle me whenever I get a glass of water at summer night. For some reason they don't appear in the winter. True. Just good at that. Do you want to hold that in? I could tell you a roach story. When I was going to the Philippines, Elijah was telling me like that they've got flying cockroaches over there and they attack people, and I read up on it and it was like, oh, they don't attack people, they just get startled and they get scared and they could fly into you because they got no coordination. So I wasn't really bothered, But when I was actually over there, I was doing some washing, and there was this giant ass flying cockroach on the wall, and he must have been at least 3 or 4 feet away from me, so he's quite a way away. I walked past it, and that little bastard flew directly in my face and in my hair, and I hit it off. I was like, Jesus Christ, he came straight up my head. I hit it off, and I ran up to do my washing. I thought, whoa, fucking hell. Anyway, I did my washing, and when I was coming back, he was still on the wall, and he jumped out and tried to get me again. So after that, I totally believe it's intentional. I reckon it's bullshit when people say it's random. I think cockroaches do, well, those ones do come out at you. I've seen flying cockroaches. Worst creature of God, well, that, and for me, spiders. Spiders are the worst for me. Fuck. Me and spiders don't coexist. Fuck spiders. So Josh is just matching up a speed run with this solution. I don't understand how we're meant to solve this solution now in the game. Oh, I agree with spiders being helpful. They kill the flies. 100% helpful, but they're just grotesque, aren't they? They could get big, they're scuttly, they're black. They've got too many fucking legs, they've got fangs. And they hide around things, you know, they kind of come out, pop out at you. Spiders just look disgusting. I think it's just the legs alone that kind of just stand out. It just looks, it's such a freaky look. Something about the evolution of us. We have a defense mechanism against it, I think. It has to be, because it's just, to me, it's such a creepy looking image. I'm cool with like snakes and lizards. I like all those. I'm totally cool with that. Frogs. But it's just spiders. I just can't deal with spiders. What, spiders are blind, are they? God, that's bad, isn't it? If it's a blind spider, they might just bump into you. The thing with spiders, they seem to live everywhere as well. They could like fucking live underwater as well. Have you seen those spiders that can create like air bubbles? They fish for tiny insects in the water. So they create an air bubble with their legs and they hide inside it underwater. Imagine that, you can't even get away from them there. They're in the desert, you got these fucking camel spiders. Oh, of course, in the rainforests, you get like these Goliath spiders that are like the size of your hand. You just can't seem to get away from them anyway. Actually, there ain't none in the Arctic though, as far as I know. But there ain't nothing in the Arctic, so. Oh yeah, ever hear of Metal Gear Solid? Yeah, just a bit. No, Metal Gear Solid, yeah, I played it when it first came out. I've played the original, not the NES one. I played the original PlayStation 1, which was incredible for the time. Metal Gear Solid 2, I got that when it came out first day. Snake Eater, I got that when it first came out. Got Metal Gear Solid 4 years later when the PlayStation 3 dropped. No, I borrowed a PlayStation 3 from my cousin because I had a 360, so I played the 4th one. And I haven't played the 5th one because I don't like the fact that he kind of didn't use David Hayter anymore as the voice of Snake, which was stupid, and Kojima either got fired or left the job making it. So after those, I kind of had no interest in playing that game. I have played almost every single Metal Gear Solid game, and I'm almost done with the lore of it. I still need to play Metal Gear Solid 2 Solid Snake. Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. Is that the one on... Is that the NES one or SNES one? Metal Gear 2. I'm not sure. I don't know how you could understand the lore, because when I beat like Metal Gear Solid 2, that ending with the kind of Lila Lila low and all that shit, oh my god, that went right over my head. Because one thing about Hideo Kojima, he can't seem to tell a story properly or make it coherent.
It's another same thing.
Right. We're having serious problems playing this game. We don't know where we're going.
What was the fucking guy just said? What's the solution?
The solution was four digits. But I don't understand how you could get the digits from here anyway.
It says
Restaurant and basement. I actually don't know, but do you know what? What we could do is end the stream here and actually prepare for this game properly the next time we play. Actually, just memorize what we got to do. That could be your job, Josh, to get like an actual full playthrough.
Yeah, because seriously, what's his name slacked up.
Because reading a guide, the guide don't seem to be very coherent, and watching the speedrun don't seem to help that much neither. Because
I don't know if he floats up where like before. I guess it hasn't been set, so like it's
right. Do you think we should call it a night here? And right, Josh, you'll have to do your research and play this next time, and figure out what to do. Right. You are going to end the stream. Did you want us to carry on streaming? What's the time? I hate disappointing people. Unless we could think of something else to play. Right, Josh is going to try another strategy first. But let me tell you about Metal Gear Solid 1. What a masterpiece that game is. When people talk about the greatest games of all time, I would say that one is one of the very few games that deserve a spot in there, because it's such an iconic game. And Snake Eater as well. I thought Snake Eater was an amazing game. Look how disgusting that rat looks. Even the tip of his tail's been cut off. Spider alert. Oh no. Oh, for sure. For like storytelling and like its approach to stealth, it was just incredible. And I like there was different solutions to solve puzzles as well, like the bit when you're inside the cell and you could hide under the bed to force a guard to come in the room, or you can put like ketchup on the floor making it look like you've been wounded and stuff like that. It just seemed to have like loads of clever little Easter eggs as well. It was just such a well thought out game. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 1 was amazing. Snake Eater was so good as well. The second one was a bit of a mixed bag. I did enjoy the game, but I think playing as Snake in the first hour or two was quite cool, but playing as Raiden... yeah, Raiden as the main character with his womanly hips. What was his name? Jack something? And his little backstory with his girlfriend about he was like a military child or some shit. It's like, oh, nobody likes Raiden. Everyone likes Snake. Nobody wants to play as Raiden. And you got a fucking vampire in it as well, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, vamp. But there were, I did like number 2 overall, but it just, compared to 1 and Snake Eater, it's nowhere near, in my opinion. Best views on stream. Shut up, bot. The thing is, bots like kind of getting into my streams. It's like, dude, we've got like no viewers. No one's gonna see these bots. You know, you're barking up the wrong tree. You need viewers to kind of get, you know, for that to kind of message to get out in the first place. You ain't getting none on my stream. I'll tell you what, the YouTube channel is dead as a door now. I looked on it, I thought it's just dead. Of all the content we've put out over the last 2 or 3 years, it just, nothing really seems to matter what you put out. I don't know if it's because we've been like blacklisted or shadow banned, or our content is just pure shit, which is valid. It could be a valid point, but yeah, we don't seem to get any help through YouTube at all. it's like we threw out like 200 videos. I'm not saying any of them's any good, but with that sheer amount, you would have thought you would have got a little bit more, a little more, you know, feedback. But no, it's nothing. There's absolutely nothing from YouTube. Oh, Josh did it. No, the show goes on. Josh has conquered the game. Oh yeah, Vamp isn't named Vamp because he's a vampire. It's because he's bisexual. Is he? Was he? But you know what? I think you're right. There was something about his sexual preferences, wasn't there? Wasn't Vamp in Metal Gear Solid 4 as well? Or am I going crazy? I've only seen Metal Gear Solid 4 once, a long time ago. I think he returned for the 4th. I just have a feeling he did. I might be wrong. I'm sure Ryder would know because he's a fan, so I'm sure he would know if Vamp come back for the 4th. Ryder, I do have a question for you after you answer that one. What is your stance on Metal Gear Solid 4? It got heavily criticized for being too cutscene heavy and not enough gameplay. Do you agree with that statement, or do you think it was a perfect balance? How did you feel about it? Because even though I like the game, I kind of definitely seen the point of it just being way too storytelling, way too much dialogue in that game. Because when they're like cutscenes that are going for over an hour long or something, you know? Like, is this a fucking game or is this like a really low budget movie kind of thing? Snake, I mean Pliskin, said in one of his codex calls that he's a bisexual, thus being named Vamp. I see. The thing is that we all know Kojima's off his rocker. Some people say he's like this incredibly talented writer, but I think there's better game writers out there. I'm not saying he's bad, obviously not. He writes, some of his stuff's amazing, but I played a bit of Death Stranding, and fucking hell, let me tell you, the writing in that game was dog shit. Just some of the stuff he comes out with, like the Princess Beach line. Find me at another beach was just like, what is? It's like Kojima. You are off your rocker, honestly. But he's got such a hardcore fan base. Like, everyone's scared to criticize his writing. It's like, nah, come on. No one's above criticism. Why has the music got all so badass all of a sudden? Oh no, it's buffered. Maybe it was me who buffered. Okay, my question to you, Ryder, is what is your stance on Metal Gear Solid 4? Because at the time it was heavily criticized for being way too story driven, or there's way too many cutscenes in this game and not enough gameplay. Did you agree with that statement, or do you think it was a good balance, or what? What was your opinion? Because I also felt like there possibly was too much dialogue. It kind of killed the pace of the game. Oh, Josh, that was good. What did you do there? You sacrificed another cockroach?
Damn radio. Jesus. It's been a long time.
What is this guy mental?
Ange? I really feel that you're with me here tonight.
This game has a story as well, which I find very unusual. Okay, my question right up to you is, if it works, what was your opinion of Metal Gear Solid 4. Because when it came out, it was criticized for being too story driven or had too many cutscenes. What was your thoughts about that? Because you're a big fan, right? Can we go into his beer? Oh, we started here earlier, didn't we? I recognize this table. What are we gonna do? This is the best game of all time. What, we're putting a pen inside this drink? Why? Why do we have to drug him? As a cockroach, what's going through our mind? Why would we come to this solution? This is fucking so stupid. I love it though. We're gonna kill the poor guy. Nice.
I know, Angelina, I know. I drink too much, I smoke too much. Forgive me. I'm just a lonely old man. I can't sleep to save my life.
Did we? Now he's tucked away. So we've put him to bed. For what reason, I don't actually know. Alright, Ryder said, I played Metal Gear Solid 4 like a month ago. I big boss ranked it. I don't see a cutscene as a problem really, unless it's very, very boring and long cutscenes that bombard you with lore and shit. Remember the ending cutscene to Metal Gear Solid 2 about the Lee Lally Lalo? Remember about the Patriots all being actually dead? I was like, what? What, Kojima? Can you just you don't have to overcomplicate stuff to tell a good story or an interesting story or a compelling story. It doesn't. You don't need to make it fucking ridiculously complicated. All clean. That is disgusting. Look, there's a bit of chewing gum stuck there. You see the chewing gum under the chair? This game is so grimy. Dude, the codec called AI Camo and Rose.
Mr. Petito?
Oh yeah. I vaguely remember that actually. I do vaguely remember that. But who cared about Rose and Jack? No one gave a fuck about Jack. We just care about Snake. What did we do, Josh?
Do not fear me, little one. I am your
What's
guide
going
and
on?
friend. Do not loathe your appearance. It is merely a mask through which truth may be conveyed. Ask yourself who you are, and look all around you, for you are there. And there is another who is part of you. A great fire burns in the cellar of your heart. Be careful and wary of your noxious intent.
This game's story is off the chain. It's quite interesting though. I don't really know what's going on, but it's interesting. This story is more interesting than Metal Gear Solid 2 story, especially come the end. Alright. When Metal Gear Solid 2 comes to the end, you're like, what? Yeah. I much preferred the more contained Metal Gear Solid 1 and Snake Eater endings. So you kind of understood what that game was about. I was like, okay, it's not, the scope is not so wide and complicated. It's like I kind of digested what they're trying to tell, but Metal Gear Solid 4 just was the amount of writing was insane. It's Kojima just being self-indulgent. He thinks he can't like do no wrong, and he thinks I can put as much shitty shit as I possibly can. Look at like the Princess Peach stuff in Death Stranding. It was ridiculous. Right. Well, I'll read this last comment and then I'm gonna call it a day here, and we'll start this some other time. Why do people gaze at Metal Gear Solid 3 with so much, dude? I played like 8 hours of it somewhat, enjoyed it, but I didn't scratch the itch of feeling like a special op agent. Like, well, I would say Snake Eater was a lot better than 2, just because the setting was more interesting. I mean, you got a linear strut kind of system. It's not as cool as the jungle, is it? I also think Metal Gear Solid 3 just had a cooler story as well. You could understand the story somewhat, and the twist at the end with boss was quite good. The boss fights were better. The camo system was a lot more interesting than just, well, there is no camo system in number 2. Yeah, there's unique weapons. Metal Gear Solid 3 just had a bigger scope, just refined the gameplay a lot as well, if I remember. The struts were fucking boring, yeah. And I like Metal Gear Solid 2, but 3 was just a lot better. But what's better, 1 or 3? That's a good question. Metal Gear Solid 1 was just incredible for the time, so I think I always have nostalgia for that, for how good that game was, and how important the original Metal Gear Solid was. That game was unbelievably good. I mean, yeah. Can you imagine it though? You think about 3 of the greatest stealth games of all time, or what greatest stealth genres, all came out in the same year. You've got Metal Gear Solid, you had Tenchu, and you had Thief, all in the same year. Imagine that for stealth fans. You got 3 gold titles there. Yeah. The story is cool, but gameplay meh. Well, I think the gameplay was no worse than Metal Gear Solid 2. Me personally, I think it was pretty much refined. Well, it was better with the camos. Probably could approach it different ways because the camos system. I think the close quarter combat was more developed than it was in Metal Gear Solid 2 as well. I think there's more weapons as well. The more approaches, and I think the fucking world was bigger as well than the struts of 2. I might be wrong, you might disagree, but that was my take. Go on then, Josh, take it away. Hi. Alright, so look at the time saved, 23:21. Oh, 23:51. Oh, that's the 14th, so this is like literally the latest one. Okay. What's going on? Okay. Seems like it. Alright, we're back playing Mr. Cockroach. Stick all. Bit of wood glue right there. I did use Gorilla Glue for the first time the other day. That shit is tough. That proxy stuff. It stinks though when you're actually mixing it together. It's like, oh Christ. You don't want to be in that proximity, but it is super strong. Oh look, the dead cockroach is in the paint. Oh no, don't tell me you don't know what you're doing. You can't have that. You must know where you're going. Josh has been researching and studying this game for the last week in preparation of making some smooth gameplay. Game audio's too loud. Alright, let's bring that down a little bit. Catching this game is fucking an absolute nightmare. I'm not kidding. You need to see it. It's made my windows very small. Is that a little bit better? 21st yesterday. Oh yeah, we know we definitely didn't play this game yesterday. Oh, here we go. All right. We are in a bathroom. How did we get here? I don't even remember. Oh, I see some cogs. Right, Josh, you might... Where are we to? You might have to narrate a bit, because I have no idea what you're doing.
So we went off the clue up there, so the score's just so like out of whack.
I did do a little bit of research into this game after I read the Wikipedia page, which makes this game even more interesting. Because when I see you play this game with some of the puzzles, I think this is actually a pretty well put together game and a pretty clever game at certain points. Like when you got to turn the cigarette to kill the spider, or like, whoa, shit! Did you see that rat in the hole? Oh my god, I see his... Look, there he is! I see his red eyes. Right, yeah, this is the greatest game I've ever seen. The music is something out of a horror game. Oh, I wanted to kind of breathe that scene a little bit more. Josh, can you go close to the rat? I want to see what happens. Can we put a save down? That sounds a little bit like the Johnny Rotten "This Is Not a Love Song," that piece of music. Dun, dun, or where's your... You know. Right, we have to see this. Oddie, I guess you agree with me. We've got to see what this rat's going to do to us. Look, this is not a love song. Oh, Christ. And one more time. Oh, God. I bet the rat at the top as well. I want to see what he does. I just want to see if there's any cool animations. What, even the one in the hole at the top? Look at it. This is like, it's like Jaws, but it's like it's a rat instead. So anyway, I was these are like just real screens. So I was doing a bit of research in this game, and I looked at the kind of so I'm getting lost for words watching you play. So I was looking at its reception when it first debuted. It did actually really well. A lot of people seem to really like it, and I can see kind of why. Like a game about a cockroach, you know, navigating through real worlds. Okay, so, wait, you killed the rat? Josh just pushed a bunch of razor blades down on a rat and diced it. Poor rat. That is awesome. Oh my goodness. He's having a slash right in the game. That is the quickest slash. He's going to be dribbling all over his pants, no question about that. Crazy. So yeah, the reception of this game did really well. And what I found interesting, when I was reading about the making of, and I'll get into this in a bit more detail later, there was actually like cockroach wranglers and pest control people, like helping provide the bugs. Oh, that poor rat. That's amazing. That's amazing. Can he roll over? Can he climb over his head and stuff? We actually killed Jules. That's pretty much what he was. He was terrorizing us for a bit. But yeah, they were using actually dead live rats. So obviously this is like, it looks touched up. It's so weird, this story as well. You've got this kind of like weird supernatural story going with this real world stuff. Look, it created a passageway. So I found that really interesting. That was a real like wrangler and all that lot, like providing the insects for the game.
The Rat King lies dead, and with it may
The
your
Rat
fear
King?
die as well. Fear is the great inhibitor you must conquer before you can cross the threshold of awareness. The means to solve
Look
any
at that.
dilemma lie at your disposal. Remember, where there is fire, there must be smoke. Answers smolder in the recesses of thought and on the precipices of great fountains.
We have to set the fire alarm off? Is that what she's talking about? Come on, you see the playthrough. What do you mean you don't know? Right. Okay, and what I was reading about the story in this game, because when I was reading Wikipedia, the story is this, if anyone's not picked up on, and I can't remember, because we play it in bits and pieces, don't we? The guy, the guy, the fat old bald guy, is actually our dad that we don't know, I think, and we're the son, and we're connected by the mother, and she has this magic amulet that's guiding us through cockroach form or something. So we're actually, I think it's our dad, is the guy, you know. But we were adopted or something and took into like a nunnery or something. I don't know, a convent. It's weird. So I guess we'll see that play out, part of that story right now. Oh Christ, where's that cockroach going? Where are we going, Josh? We are now, was that a radiator? Speaker? Right. Oh, it's this fridge. Have you seen this missing child? Yeah, yeah. Do they still put like missing children on the back of cartons anymore? That's more of an American thing, isn't it? Do they still do that in America? So obviously, of course, I don't live in America. I don't know. Maybe they do. It's a bit depressing though when you're having your cereal and you're kind of like pouring your milk in your cereal and you're like, oh, there's like another missing kid or something. You don't really want to be thinking about that kind of stuff. But obviously, it does aid the cause, doesn't it? At the same time. Just watching you scuttle across these scenes is just so hilarious. It's amazing this game even got made, honestly. Yeah, and we have a treat for you, Audie, at the end of the game. I'll talk about it in a sec. But Josh, do you think for the Mount Rushmore of video game characters, say you got like, you know, Kratos, Gordon Freeman, you know, Solid Snake, do you think Cockroach should be among those beings? I reckon he'd be neatly tied between like Mario and Master Chief. Yeah. Just Cockroach. We need to bring him back. Oh, there's blood there. What's that? Can we... This is going to be disgusting, isn't it? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, disgusting. That is... It's amazing how, like... I know this is the redo version, like you know, they've remastered the images obviously because they do look sharp. Oh, we're walking across like meat and bacon rashers. But it does look cool as shit, doesn't it? Can we climb inside the soup? Why is this game so good? What is he making there? What is he making? Chili con carne? Okay, we moved the Budweiser bottle cap. Oh, fuck me, we're going in the oven. So, I was saying earlier, Audie, once we finish this game, I'm gonna watch a video what's 37 minutes long, and it's the making of this video game, what's on YouTube. So yeah, this game has a making of, which I think is fascinating. We have to watch it, and I want to watch it after we're done playing. How can you not want to see a making of this game, Josh? Like, what was the inspiration? Was it that
It's very interesting.
when I was reading Wikipedia, something actually jumped out, and I thought this when we first played it. Because I remember listening to XFM with like Ricky Gervais, Carl, and Steve. And Ricky was just terrorizing Carl, obviously, taking a piss out of him like he always does. And he was giving him these like nonsense questions, like what would you if you woke up inside a bug, a spider, and you were inside of, like a, you know, an insect or something. And then what's his name? Steve's talked about there's this book called Metamorphosis where a guy wakes up as a bug and he's got to live his life as a bug. And I thought I did see that a bit in this game. I was wondering if apparently, I wonder if that was part of the inspiration of like this. And other films, maybe something like oh, what's that really great little movie from the 50s? The Incredible Shrinking Man as well, where the guy shrinks down to like a bug size and he has to like battle like a spider and, you know, stuff like that. I like the preachy ending. It is very preachy, but it's quite interesting the way it kind of so we came past the cooker to pick up a small bug on our back. What is it, a baby or something? It is fucking minging now. We're walking across, you know, food, isn't it, as a bug. And it's ultra realistic. We know these cockroaches are real cockroaches. They modeled them after real cockroaches. There's onion there. Bit of garlic, red pepper. It looks fucking filthy. Looks like my Uncle Bernard's place, probably. Well, wait. Josh, can we put out of his misery? Can we go in his lungs and just puncture him or something? That's a bit sick, isn't it? You know that part in like Resident Evil 1 where like you drain the water in the tank and the sharks are just bouncing around? I gotta shoot them every time. I can't have that like bouncing around, you know what I mean? Gotta put them out of their misery. Even if they are evil zombie sharks.
You may ask, who am I? Where am I going, and what do I see?
Fucking hell, this is such a weird game, honestly.
Many times, for the greatest men, these questions can never be answered. Do not ask, who am I?
We're writing
Ask
on
instead,
a
who
dollar
made
bill.
me? For great pain was suffered at your birth, but great love was the spark of your conception. Love can still flourish in the soil of death. This is the key to life eternal.
What does this all mean? She gave us up at birth because it talks about the nunnery. Remember that video earlier? We know the fat guy here is our dad. We're not aware of that ourselves, and he's not aware of it. But the magic amulet, what is that about? Oh, there's a swordfish. Oh, it's a fake one. His dad was in the, what is this? He was a sailor, or? I'm trying to pick the pieces up of the like world. Oh, he's a drinker. He's alcoholic. We knew that anyway. What's going on here? I'm trying to make out where we are.
Know the chain reaction that is part of all things.
Right, so chain reaction is part of all things. Does that mean we're dropping something inside this whiskey? Or what is it, gin? Josh has just watched a guide to get a nice smooth playthrough. We don't really, I don't know what on earth's going on.
You cannot run from fear.
You cannot run from fear. I totally recommend people run away from fear because, you know, what if you've been chased by like a fucking Rottweiler or something? Yeah, you're not gonna stand and fight a chimpanzee on the loose, are you, or something?
Don't give up yet.
Don't give up, like, yeah, well, we're obviously not gonna be giving up anytime soon. So what does this do? This triggers off some sort of reaction. So there's a sequence of like us looking into the bottles. Right. And obviously Josh doesn't know how we figure this puzzle out or the solution.
If you hear me now, then you have truly sacrificed. Know the chain reaction that is part of all things.
That was a cool shot.
Remember, every action ripples and ripples and ripples. Mounting energy that bloats and festers until there is a spark, and then all is lost in fire. But it is never too late to help those in the path of the fire. They need only to be warned in time.
So she's recommending that we burn this apartment down, but we gotta save our dad. That's a drunk. That I think we actually help manipulating him into falling asleep. What is those things there? Like what slides off the screen? I don't understand what that actually is. It's like it's masking part of the screen, but it takes it away instantly. Maybe it's something to do with loading the screens up because they're higher quality. What's this now? Loose wires. Do we have to warn our dad before we burn this place down? Otherwise we're going to cook him alive, Josh.
Guessing so.
Oh, another thing I should mention. There are, from what I remember reading, there's 4 different endings, which is quite amazing really for like a point in, well, like an adventure game, isn't it? 4 possible outcomes. I think they're to do with you saving your dad or not saving your dad. You know, obviously, these are what we're dealing with. Oh, can we listen to the messages? Can we press play or start? Let's see what happens. We got 2 messages. We've got to, you know, see what that's about. You didn't do this in this run, obviously.
Dr. Sams, this is Ellen Thurber. Dr. Michelson's asked me to remind you about the review meeting scheduled for Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Could you please call me to confirm that? Thank you.
Friday, 7:58 a.m.
Can we play the other message? Or is it just... maybe just run over it again? You're rewinding it. That's cool. Yeah, go on, let's play. You're on message 1 now.
Hey, Raj. Pick up if you're there, Raj. It's Bernie. Listen, they're asking a lot of questions down here. I can't cover for you much longer. You better be ready Monday morning, because they're going to rake your ass over the coals, man. Call me back as soon as you get this message. You better have your resume ready.
Someone's in a lot of trouble.
7:06 p.m.
I like how in this game you could kind of go off the beaten path and kind of get a little bit of like what you call it, world building, lore, or backstories through pictures, or you know, interacting with human things. Oh shit! What we're... Oh, our bodies are... Oh, don't tell me we're going to crawl back inside our own body. Oh, we're going to see our own body on the floor. That's amazing. Shout out to the soundtrack. It's pretty fucking cool. 3 South Beach bars raided. Oh, look up. Oh. I want to read that. Hang on, let me get closer. 3 police raids took place this weekend in a local bars in San Francisco's South Beach arena. Oh no, our area. Police said the raids were the result of repeat violations of various city regulations, including fire safety codes and the, what does it say, serving the alcohol to minors. Police made a total of 18 arrests. Okay. Got his passport ready. Someone's leaving the country. What are we doing here? Oh, we turned it to hit the TV. Oh, the cigarette is in the way. I see.
If you see me now, then you have also seen a man who's lost all hope.
He's running, trying to hide from all the anger and fear that has plagued him. You cannot run from fear, for no matter where you go or what lies you may believe, truth always stares back at you from the mirror.
Are we going to become like a saint after we retrieve our body? It's like we are being confronted with all our like evilness or our past or whatever, our traumas. Oh my god, we're riding a butterfly. That's amazing. Even these FMVs are charming. Fucking hell, this game's the best. Bad Mojo is the greatest game, and Do you know what? The reception for this game was so high though in 96. I can see why. It's kind of cool. Because it was getting like 8s all over the joint. It's like, wow.
This game was getting 8s.
I can see why. Imagine this in 96. That's fucking old, isn't it, when you think about it? But look how creative it is. It kind of holds up now. You're looking at it going, wow, I can't wait to see the next couple of scenes. What's going to happen? I wish the puzzles were a little bit more, you know... I reckon... Yeah. And this story is like a fucking acid trip, really. Oh, she just gave birth to us.
Everything is relevant and nothing is real.
There's a contradiction in it.
Now has meaning and the bell tolls for thee. The spark is ready and waiting. You barely have time to act. Remember all that you have seen. Recall all that you have heard. Flush your memory of tainted thoughts. Act decisively. That which smolders may awaken the dreamer. Run from the fire, but not the flames. The answer is family, not fortune and fame.
We gotta be righteous. Did she hear what she said? It's family, so she's already alluding to us that we're related. We know that's our dad. We have to save him. But you don't have to save him, Josh. You can actually let him burn. Josh didn't know what end we're getting. I want to save our dad, but, you know, who knows? What's this? Pacific Wireless? What's all this cockroach references there? Dissecting cockroaches. Do we still have that little bug on our back? What did we use him for? Whoa! Oh shit. We used the cat to get onto the floor? Oh, wow. I really want to crawl over our own body as a cockroach. Look, there's our hand. Come on, just crawl over our hand. Oh. Josh has done it. Josh has finished the game. That was cool as shit, though, wasn't it, really? That was really, I'd like to see it being explained a lot more with, like, a really long Let's Play or someone that knows this game inside out. Do you reckon it's a bit like, yeah, Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber? That terrible haircut. You gotta save your dad. I don't think we managed it though.
Oh shit. Gas.
Oh no. No, our dad's in there. Go save him. Oh.
Goodbye, Eddie.
Yep.
I hope you enjoy your rent money in hell.
For comedy value, this might be the best ending. What a psycho. The acting's amazing.
I almost made the plane to Mexico City that night.
Got arrested.
I was running across the tarmac, waving $100 bills at the pilot when they picked me up. The next day, they pulled Eddie's charred body from the building and then charged me with murder. Of course they didn't believe my road story. And now I'm doing 25 to life in a high-security institute for the criminally insane.
Oh my goodness. We found our next Joker actor. That was amazing ending. I'm very satisfied with the acting. Franz the cat was called Bogart. What a game that was. What a game. So there are 4 endings. There are things we could have done to actually save our dad, and I think they're, well, I'll read them out later after we see the after we see all this. God, what a trip though this game is, isn't it? Imagine playing this back in 1996 when you're not fast tracking it like we did. We're like exploring everything, looking around, getting multiple endings. Very creative.
It's a memorable game, though.
Definitely. No, I had a lot of fun watching that game. That was truly grimy and disgusting. People talk about like disgusting games as in gore, but they don't talk about like filth, grime, shit, dirt, and all that kind of stuff. And this game kind of like dabbles in that beautifully. Well, you are actually playing as a cockroach. It's walking across like uncooked food, and you see like living animals breathing their last breath and stuff like that, or going through garbage and shit. It's like it's yeah. I mean, it's not something that like many people would want to buy, is it? Let's be fair. You go to a game shop, yeah, I want to play as a cockroach going through disgusting environments. You know, that's what makes this game. This is why I love it. Can you imagine mums picking up that game, looking on the back and reading, seeing some of the screens and reading what you kind of do? They'd be like, why would I buy my child this?
I just didn't get it.
There's no question there's going to be fans for this game because it's just so out there. It's very memorable. Again, 1996. The story's very unusual and weird as well. Yeah, that was cool. I did enjoy watching that. That had some pretty cool twists in there. You could see like some elements of this game could have been done a lot better. Like, you know, when you play games like you can hear a cat like screeching. Games like Limbo and stuff like that, when you deal with insects in the wild and stuff like that, and you've got kind of there's puzzles. I think this game would have worked its best if it kind of had more of those kind of like those puzzle solutions in there with like basic physics. Because some of it's like a bit like outlandish, like you got to look into bottles and stuff like that. But when you're like getting attacked by insects and you like knock the razors onto the rat, all that stuff's like really good stuff.
I wonder if there's like, you know, puzzles that are actually properly referenced. Like, is there like the targets?
Yeah. Well, that's Bad Mojo. Now we're gonna go watch the making of. It's like 35 minutes, but I think it's worth watching on the stream because it's interesting. I think people might not want to see it, but I kind of do. I did download it actually, so. How weird though that there's actually like
we're checking out the opening movie from Bad
a
Mojo.
making
I'm
of.
Phil, the producer and one of the designers.
I'm Alex Louie. I'm one of the producers.
And I'm Vinny Corella, and the director and writer of this insanity.
So what we're looking at here is the opening movie. We did this to kind of pack in all of the different story elements that we needed to get in to tell the game. And we spent a lot of time on this movie. Our whole thing, at first, remember we conceived this thing as one, we wanted to do the whole thing as one shot, and we got over that pretty quickly, and the last vestige was that we did this as the opening. The 3D part is one continuous shot.
I think the bridge here is noteworthy because we built it in Swivel 3D. I mean, Drew Huffman did a great job with this. I mean, he built it in this software that was from like 1992.
Yeah, Drew built the bridge, and Charles Rose did this sequence. An illustrious man now working at Phil Tippett.
One of the reasons why I think the sequence is so long, especially in the beginning, is because we conceived this opening. We wanted to have this Apocalypse Now style opening monologue that would set the tone for the game, and also pack in all this information. I remember really trimming this thing down and trying to get it tighter and tighter, but it was still so long. We needed this really long, pushing over the city.
Look, there's Franz the cat. There he is. Just jumped out of the way. This is a big thing, like how we did getting in from the 3D building to the live action set, and we spent a lot of time on that, trying to figure out how to do that. There's Roger Sams, played by
Michael Summers.
Shout out to Michael Summers. He did an awesome job.
You know, this is one of the rooms. This is one of the last rooms you see in the game. This is Roger's room.
We wanted to make sure that we got in all these all this information you had to use later, like the cat, which is a player in the game.
Bogart. Bogart the cat. It's a nice cat.
So the opening movie has, has a lot of meaning in terms of gameplay, because if you pay attention and you really look at all these different things, it's going to help you get through the last section of the game.
Now look at this guy. He's hilarious.
I don't think a lot of people would remember though the elements. I think it's more about establishing it, so it's not random. If that makes sense.
He's so over the top.
We were so worried about, because the movie sizes
Over
were
the top,
small,
fucking hell.
that we wanted to make sure
It's an
that
understatement.
all the emotion read, and then you could see. I think that's why we chose him, was because his facial expressions are hilarious and so over the top.
Yeah, this is exaggerated.
Look, there's all that money. Remember, we printed up all that money. Our office manager was saying we could get in trouble because we were counterfeiting.
Counterfeiting money for the fucking game. It's great.
What's this guy's name again?
His name is Eddie Petito, and the character's name is Mike Gilliam.
Mike Gilliam.
He's an old school actor who's acted with a lot of the great Jack Nicholson, and he's been around for a long time.
He was hilarious.
And he was really on the skids when we
And look at that, I love it, because he just kept spitting in Michael Summers' face during this take.
I think it took a whole day to shoot this, if not 2 days, I think.
I think it took 2 days, yeah. I mean, this is the set that we built in our offices, so this was built in a really small little area. We built this whole set to mimic, we built a lot of sets, but we built this one. This one wasn't mimicked really in 3D, but some of the other sets actually were built as 3D sets and live-action sets.
I think it's funny here that he can see the money through the closed suitcase.
And then we had to get this thing, you might want to lock it.
We really worried about people missing the hints. We wanted to make sure there were hints in the opening movie.
It's pretty telegraphed, yeah.
We were so worried that the game was going to be unplayable and that people weren't going to understand what to do or how to do it, because it's pretty esoteric. It's not like a typical game.
Oh yeah, lock it.
It is. It still is when you play it now.
We had this locket custom made by this jeweler guy, and he made it from a, what is it, a stopwatch?
From an old pocket watch, and we had to have it in a week, and it cost, I think, $1,600.
Cool.
Got a lot of help for that. Yeah.
$1,600 to make that.
Probably could have went out to Toys R Us and bought something.
No, we used the locket a lot. It's in a lot of close-up shots, and it's really cool, and it has the air of antiquity to it. It looks really neat.
This is my favorite part, when he turns into the half man, half roach we call Roach. Yeah. Remember that? We shot that.
Rehearsals.
The rehearsals
Michael
were funny.
Summers was hysterical.
My brain
Thanks to we had some cool special effects. Thanks to Daryl Flowers. Remember him?
I do.
Our grip, yeah. And here's a locket that's Susan
Like his
Bolton
face
in
on
there.
the
She's the
on
oracle.
the picture.
The interesting part here is this screen's upside down, and in the game we had to do it that way because we had to make it right side up in the game.
Yeah, we kept using this circle thing. There's circles throughout the game. Circles, circles, circles. Like the locket's a circle, his eye's a circle. We have a lot of eyes in the game too.
Because they do the transformations better, I think.
Repetitive motif. This
Love
is the sewer chamber.
Love this high resolution cockroach that we made.
Yeah.
Greg Smith made that cockroach.
Greg Smith. And now we're into the game itself.
I want to get to the bit when because there's that section here of what talks about the way they use the animals.
We wanted to have a graphically rich game, but we also knew that the load times for CD-ROMs was a huge problem. So how do you load these graphically rich screens and not have a really long load times for the user? So we figured that if we had a really small sprite-based character, like a character 1 inch to 2 inches tall on screen, that we could sort of preload the screens based on where the character was moving and such, and what direction he was going in. Could we do a game with an insect? An insect is small. And what would be interesting? And obviously we weren't going to do ladybugs or grasshoppers. We were thinking of things that had some edge to it. Scorpions, although scorpions aren't insects, but spiders.
Oh, there is a game called Spider on PS1.
We all had some pretty
we could play that one as well.
cockroach stories. The president of Drew Pictures, Drew Huffman, and I both grew up in cockroach-infested households.
Well, that was the inspiration.
In a two-family house, and at one point in time, there were 17 Colombians living above us in a one-bedroom apartment. So needless to say, it was very noisy up there, but also it was quite squalid, and we had just an incredible cockroach infestation in the house. I mean, I remember routinely waking up at night as a child with cockroaches crawling on my face. They were always
disgusting.
in the bathtub, they were always in the kitchen sink, they were in the stove, they were everywhere. I mean, there were just cockroaches all over the place. Drew had several harrowing cockroach stories, but one of the most interesting and hilarious and also disgusting was the fact when he woke up with just an agonizing headache in the middle of the night that he thought was a brain tumor. And he heard this, the way he describes it, like the sound of a kettle drum in his ear.
Crawled in his ear.
And he was rushed to the
fucking
hospital
hell.
by his mother, and in the emergency room they discovered that he had a baby cockroach in his ear. This thing is like microscopically small. It's as big as a pinhead if you've ever seen a baby cockroach. And this thing was dancing around Drew's eardrum, pounding on it and causing him just great pain. They had to extract this tiny cockroach out of his ear with a, crazy forceps or whatever. And, we just laughed uproariously at that. And we ran around the table that day, and everyone in the room had some sort of harrowing cockroach story. I think Drew's infestation might have been a little bit worse than ours. He told a story one time about how he went to the beach with his family on a vacation, to get away from it all. And they took all these wonderful snapshots of the family on the beach, and they were really, quaint. And him and his mom and his brother digging sandcastles and the whole thing. And when they developed the film, this crazy thing happened. There were these silhouettes of cockroaches on the photographs themselves, and they were crystal clear. The cockroaches were living.
Look at that! He's got the picture still.
And every single picture had these silhouettes of cockroaches sort of bordering these shots of like kids with their arms around each other and laughing and grinning. And they've got the popsicles in their
Terrorized
hand.
by a bunch of cockroaches.
Really, I don't think people would even believe it if you put that in a movie. And we began to think, you know what? All people have had encounters with cockroaches. We realized it was like this universal thing, and it did have the edge we were looking for. It did allow us to use the sort of small sprite kind of thing. And also there were these great urban myths that were circulating then, and I guess still now. After the nuclear holocaust, the only creatures that would survive would be cockroaches, and cockroaches will outlive us all, and there are these miracles of evolution, and we did some research into that. I talked to entomologists at Purdue University who specialize in cockroach abatement, the people up at S.C. Johnson Wax up in Racine, Wisconsin, which make the Raid, the roach spray Raid.
You got to respect these animals. They can take a lot. They're incredibly resilient, and I think that they're gross, but they're also kind of majestic in a way.
Do not fear me, little one.
Remember those Raid commercials with those little cartoony roaches, and they're giggling and laughing and doing all that kind of crazy stuff? I mean, the game was originally going to be this funny thing.
The game was about kind of being gross, and it was meant to be sort of a parody.
And they were going to have characterizations and funny voices, and they were going to just crawl on your toothbrush and gross you out, and they were going to. In a way, it was almost going to be like roaches getting back at man kind of thing.
When Vin and I got involved in it, we took a different approach. We were both big fans of David Lynch, and I think Blue Velvet had just come out, or it was right around that time, and we wanted to make it weird. So we tried to make it dark and creepy, and our overall vibe was, when in doubt, make it strange.
We didn't want this to be a typical game. We always wanted to make a game that was a little bit more mature, and that conveyed something a little bit more literate than just, killing dragons or smoting monsters or whatever.
We're both inspired by Kafka's Metamorphosis, about this guy
I mentioned that earlier.
that through some mysterious circumstance gets changed or transformed into a cockroach. We wanted there to be some sort of classic backstory to the whole game. We tied the cockroach to a guy who gets turned into a cockroach. And because of that, we wanted to know why. Why was he turned into a cockroach? What were what's the point of this whole thing? And ultimately, we referred to Joseph Campbell in A Hero at the Thousand Faces and put him on a quest.
One of the classic hero's quests is the son's search for the father. He doesn't understand who he is, where he comes from, or how he got the way he was until he turns into a cockroach. As a cockroach, he gets to look at things from a point of view he couldn't look at it from before. We knew we wanted this to be this gritty, dark, edgy, disgusting world, just like a real roach's world.
I mean, this was a gross game. Anything that's gross or disgusting has this kind of self-developing notoriety.
In the beginning, we got totally caught up in this. One of the first things we thought about was the kitchen of this bar/restaurant, because we worked in a restaurant.
One of the hard parts about doing a game in 1995 was that, on a PC especially, was that we were working in a 256 color environment.
We wanted it to be hyper-realistic. We wanted it to be exactly like you were a cockroach. The stainless steel countertops and the tile floor and all this spilled grease and bacon and all these things that we had seen cockroaches crawling on when we were busboys in this restaurant.
We tried doing everything in the 3D applications, and we were discovering that, well, at the time, I mean, 3D applications were a lot more primitive than they are now.
You know, I had a Power Mac 8100 that had 96 megs of RAM, and that was the most RAM anyone had ever heard of in a computer. I think the RAM cost more than the computer cost.
We telescoped out our work schedule at that point and figured we would have been done with the show about now.
We were never really good at planning things out. Really, our backgrounds were as filmmakers, and we were good at making something visually compelling. We created this little cardboard jig, that was basically a screen. And we would take this jig and we'd move it around and look at things and look at the floor and put it over objects and on countertops, getting on our hands and knees. In fact, getting on our bellies and crawling. You know, looking at the floor and thinking about how cool it would be to show this, how cool it would be to show that. We call it driving the roach. So rather than sit down and come up with a design document, which you would do today, you know, you would probably spend months and months in development just on creating a design document that would tell the artists and the engineers what to do. We didn't do that. And we test an idea out visually just to see how something would navigate or how something would look, how it would work, how we would light it, how it would play on screen.
It's actually a big pain just to develop colors that were kind of close to each other so we could have something that looked good in 256 colors.
We wanted the player to be able to explore every square inch of this apartment building, everything, and just explore. You know, let's let the person go out and explore everything, underneath the rug, underneath the table, under the hot water heater, every wall, every ceiling, every floor, every table, every chair, everything was going to be navigable. We quickly realized that this was just going to, for two reasons, was just not going to work.
The
First
game
of all,
will get
CD,
lost.
the
There's no
artwork would
direction.
never fit on one CD. We knew we wanted it to be on one CD. It would take forever for us to produce it. And also, it would just be too boring. You know, navigating across a giant cinder block wall sucks. It's not fun.
Vinny and I were looking at the notes that we had.
Gameplay
early on.
obviously took a backseat to them just having real world,
you were gonna hook up with
you
other
know,
roaches
creating that
and
real world
breed, and
look.
there was a lot of like asset or resource management in the game. And ultimately what happened was we were essentially a year out and we were still like figuring out what the game was. And so we said, let's strip away all that stuff. It's all gone.
Phil and I reached the point where we had said, okay, enough's enough. You know, we can spend 6 weeks modeling a stick, or we can just go out down the block and take a picture of one. And that's where the infusion between the 3D and the photographic stuff started developing. This was high concept. We ran out of time, and we decided that, well, he's getting closer to being a real human being. He should have photographic stuff around him to kind of show his journey. Basically, punted.
We came up with the concept of what we called islands of activity. So the gameplay would take place in these little islands, and you would traverse from island to island with your cockroach. So you wouldn't have to go through 30 screens of blank floor to get to the next island. You would go across 3. So we kind of truncated the world, and took some shortcuts.
The whole game takes place in this San Francisco waterfront dingy bar, Eddie Petito's bar. And we locked ourselves in a room for, I don't know how long it was, 2 weeks, a week, I forget. We just hashed out the whole game.
The hallmark of an adventure game is that there's a puzzle. The player has to solve some sort of visual riddle in the game world in order to move on to the next level.
We would draw it all out on paper, and sometimes I would make massing models in Swivel. I would just mock up what we thought the room would look like and what you were going to do.
We hated the idea of puzzles that were removed from the natural game environment. We wanted to make sure that all of the puzzles were seamlessly integrated into the game environment, so you were never removed from it. So everything was restricted by what could a cockroach really do?
A cockroach can only do so many things.
Ultimately, it was 4 keys. You drive a roach. That's it.
Yeah.
And we did that. Ultimately, I think we did it at first because we felt it was our safest bet to get the game done. But as a side effect, it allowed us as designers to, it set up a bunch of limitations for us, but that was good because it corralled us to thinking about only like what we could do as a roach.
I remember just pulling our hair out trying to think of things that roaches could do.
It wasn't much. You could push things, you could, you know, the weight of the roach could cause you to do things.
A lot of the puzzles in Bad Mojo are what we called like these Rube Goldberg-esque Byzantine sort of action-reaction puzzles where you do something on one screen that has an effect on something many screens in the future or somewhere else in the game. On every level in the game are animals.
This guy's house is just filled with critters. There's like slugs, there's mice, there's termites, there's silverfish.
I think this is one of the most enjoyable parts or interesting parts of the animals and insects.
They had information that they were able to give you, the cockroach, to help you on your journey. Phil and Vinny and I would go and sit down, and Vinny would have written a riddle by this time that was kind of pseudo-poetic, and we would try to fit the assets we had, you know, for instance, vacuum cleaners or rats or cockroaches or whatever, into a kind of a dreamlike, kind of pre-Big Lebowski sort of montage of visual and audio clues.
We use movies, clues, written text, objects. In some cases, the player interacts with photographs. And from very early on, we really love this idea of living photographs. You would see a photograph and you'd crawl over it, and that would cause a small movie to play, you know, within the bounds of the photograph.
Yeah, we never
itself.
explored that,
And
but that's a
you'd see
clever
this
idea.
This little snippet, you know, this little moment from the life of the character.
Look, he's being bullied there. We didn't see none of this. That's just why our character was a piece of shit, because obviously past trauma,
The biggest problem in
which we
creating
never
this
got to
game
explore.
wasn't the design, and it wasn't financing it, and it wasn't figuring out how to get it, you know, to work on the screen. It was, how does a group of people with completely different personalities, some of which really shouldn't even be together in the first place, how do we get along? How do we build a team?
Everything that's good, you kind of have to have a lot of bad things happen to make things even better.
If you work on a good movie or a movie that was fun, or a game that was fun to create, it'll turn out like crap.
I'd say discussions, but they were actually
that true?
matches.
We're going to call Drew right now. We're calling him down to this conference room.
I have heard like
We're reading him a
the
riot.
more difficult and hard it is and funny is, the better the product comes out. I've heard like Tarantino say that kind of stuff.
What was going on, but you know, I found out after the fact that I guess Drew was. It seemed like he was having a heart attack or something.
He blew his stack. He went nuts. He was screaming at us. He was going nuts. It was insane. Like, we saw a side of this man that we had never seen, I never want to see again. He was like under such pressure to get this thing done. And afterwards, Vinny and I were just like, oh my God, what did we do?
I guess it's kind of weird, like seeing someone being so invested in a premise that's so silly. People might not be taking it serious because it's silly, but obviously for him, it was like such a great idea, unique.
I'm relying too heavily on other people to do it, and this is causing my feeling of desperation. I mean, I can't believe I wrote this in a notebook. This is like my diary. The only time that I really felt like I had real control was in the production of the video portion of the game. But actually, really, I didn't actually have any control at all, but I had a great relationship with Phil and with Aaron Strain and with Jonathan Fishman. Those guys were doing all the work. So it was really when I kind of gave control away to people that I trusted that I felt like I was in the most control. And that was when I had fun.
We had a set designer build the exact replica of that CG model that I had built, you know, in full size, where we could film these live action sequences.
It was very
you got behind the scenes
eerie
as well. It's
to be
great.
going through and seeing this stuff that you painted and kind of grossed yourself out on, and there it was in, you know, as big as life.
You know, when you play the game, you see us going between these things. In most cases, it's pretty seamless and it works.
We had these off-angle shots, which were kind of Moses goes to the mountaintop shot, which would tell you where you were in the game. We spent a lot of time taking the textures that we had just created, you know, faux tabletops, 50s matchbooks, bills, eviction notices, and translating them from the game into real tangible objects that the actors could manipulate or act around and things like that.
In terms of casting, we
Yeah.
got really lucky because, you know, we didn't have any money. We weren't going to go to a traditional casting agency and get real talent.
They're not going to a real casting agency to get real talent.
We had to rely on local San Francisco theatrical talent that would work for scale.
Got some nerve coming up here at this hour.
So it was just potluck. Who would walk in the door that we could kind of latch on to?
This guy was great, though.
As these people. So we had every jamoke from all these theater companies in San Francisco coming in here and auditioning for us, and they were hilarious. Some of these people were just terrible. Or some of them were good stage actors, but just it wasn't going to work for the game.
I'd get suckered into actually playing a part as a stand-in just to block out a scene or something like that.
Jeez, let me in here. What's going on? What do you want?
It's terrible. I mean, I'll never win an Oscar.
Fuck, his acting's shocking.
We were lucky that we found Michael Summers and Mike Gilliam and Susan Volkin, people who were cheap, who fit the roles well, and who were really easy to work with and took direction with.
There's a shadow from your face is falling onto Mike's face, so
try to stay over.
No, I don't want you to cheat over too far because then we get to that same problem we had before. Just keep your head back. I like you guys close together, but just a little bit more, a little bit back.
That's fine.
You know, Michael Summers, when he walked in that day, I knew it. You know, I think he was the last guy we saw. He was late for his audition. He was an absolute mess. He was all over the place. Who is it? And he had this just beautiful. We fell in love with him physically. Was he the right guy for the role of Roger Sams? Probably not. If you look at the movies and you look at the way he acts, I mean, he's like this Buster Keaton-esque, Chaplin-esque guy. He's a lot like Jim Carrey, you know, and
We said that he's like Jim Carrey.
He's a physical, comedic type actor. He's long, he's lanky, he's got these just vivid facial expressions, and when he acts, that's how he acts. His body acts. He moves all over the place. His eyes bug out of his head. His arms, his hands, his shoulders, every part of his body is involved in every
Well, they're not filming Shakespeare, are they? Ultimately, you play as a cockroach, so I don't think it really mattered.
It's so over the top, which was always our mantra in game production. It's just like over the top, over the top, over the top, because these movies were so small and they were compressed, you know, down to like these blurry little things. We were never sure that the characters' emotions were going to read through. So we always told everyone to just go crazy, go full bore, give it to us all, you know, and it worked, I guess.
The space that we were doing the shooting in was really susceptible to a lot of noise. There was a big parking lot outside. We were right by a freeway off-ramp. A lot of good takes got really ruined because of that, unfortunately. Right outside of the room that we were in were the bathrooms. And, you know, every time somebody flushed the toilet, the pipes would start knocking.
At first, we collected animals on our own. I remember a very early experiment we did with spiders on the blue screen. We found some spiders, brought them into the studio.
Oh, that is
put them on
disgusting.
the blue screen, and I remember the first spider vaporized instantly under the lights. It was just gone in a puff.
Oh, fuck.
So we had to adjust the lights and figure that out. And we had like a little piece of glass, and the spider was crawling on the glass. That was not going to work. Filming spiders was just not going to work.
If we're going to make a game about cockroaches, we needed to know what cockroaches look like, how they behaved, what they did, and so we had all kinds of. We had a little zoo at the office.
The first place we got animals was the South Carolina Biological Supply Company, which is this, you know, wonderful catalog and website where you can buy things for the classroom. And in that catalog was something that just made our eyes light up. There was the cockroach kit. Ostensibly, a classroom would study the life cycle of a cockroach, and kids would watch it or whatever. I don't know what the hell this thing would be used for. They would send you 6 cockroaches in a little cup with some paper towels in it. We bought one of these cockroaches kits and created this terrarium of horrors.
You'd always keep a little water in the bottom for them to drink, and then they ate dog food. So I had this bag of dog food, and every week I'd put a little more dog food in there. And we'd get to watch them. You know, we get to watch them live and eat and multiply.
It got gross in a hurry.
We must have had 2,000 cockroaches in this little
2,000
sealed on top.
from 6.
Point out the little pregnant ones, and we see the little egg sacs.
Oh,
and we'd watch them
Jesus.
hatch these babies, and then it was amazing.
Just a squalid, horrible environment.
I needed to clean out this cage and get the dead ones out and clean the, you know, roach poo out of it and everything. So if you open it up, they all run out. So what I figured out is if I took the little terrarium and stuck it in the freezer.
Yeah, make them do
For
so.
about 15, 20 minutes, they would all the live ones would all hide and huddle into these wooden slats and start moving really slow and protect themselves. Then I go up to go out to the street, out to a garbage can, and I could shake out all the dead ones, and hose out the little bottom of the terrarium and put them back in. So I did this for like a year, and they just wouldn't stop, living.
And we had these cockroaches in there that we would study. The artist would sit there, look at the cage, look at how the roach moves, look at the sheen on the back of the roach's, carapace and stuff, and we'd watch the roach move and how it
This guy is so into this project. It's incredible.
that's how we got the roach to look.
That's why it was successful.
With these Carolina biological cockroaches.
They gave me some mice to play with, basically.
Oh
So I
wow!
brought
They got
my,
footage for the mice behind the
recorder over
scenes.
there and tried to get sound out of one mouse. And it took some coaxing, but I was able to get some squeaks.
Oh.
I did not want there to be this stiff-looking rubber rat. Didn't want to make a rat in 3D. At the time, you couldn't do fur or hair in 3D. It just wasn't
Oh
doable.
god, yeah, how would you animate that?
And it had to be hyper-realistic. So I knew that we would have to get a live rat. Did not want a pet shop rat, not a white one, not a black one. Wanted a real Norway rat.
And one day, as a practical joke, Vinny brought this bag in, and it was a paper bag, and it had one of these little cat toys in it that rolls around. It's like a little ball that goes all crazy. And he's like, I got a rat, and he throws it on the floor, and it just takes off and starts skidding around, and people were just freaking out. They really thought it was a rat.
It was our original goal not to harm any animals during the production of the game.
There was this awful, awful day where it wasn't awful, it was just gross.
I'm curious.
Okay, Vinny got a dead rat.
I called various exterminating companies here in the city, and I said, listen, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm shooting a movie here in the city. I need a rat that's been freshly killed. Can you get me one? 9 out of 10 people hung up on me. I got a call. Came like 12 o'clock in the afternoon one day. There was the exterminator truck sitting in front of a restaurant. There was this big Aussie, this Australian guy, who was the exterminator. Oh, we got a big one here for you. This guy's huge. We found him in a crate of cantaloupe. What do you want me to do with it, mate? And I was like, I can't use it alive. So he takes the rat, and smashes it against the side of his pickup truck, just like, and kills it. It's dead. Here you go. We put it in a Ziploc bag. We raced back to the
Horrible.
office as if we were holding like some kidney for organ transplantation.
We took pictures of the rat in every single possible pose. I think that very few Victoria's Secret models get the kind of love that this rat did, because we knew that it was going to rot and stink by the end of the day.
We only harmed animals that were sort of on death row anyway. We went to
Spin into a
fish market
positive.
in Chinatown in San Francisco for the catfish. And if you've ever been to one of these places, there are all these squalid tanks where there are like soft-shell turtles and
Well, Josh,
various
the
types
rat
of
has
fish.
been immortalized in a video game history,
In one
so
tank was this big tank full of
is that a
catfish.
sacrifice,
And I remember saying, I need 2
willing to be
catfish.
made? I don't know.
The guy didn't speak English. We were communicating with hand gestures, and I was like, no, alive, because they were gonna, they were gonna kill them right there for us. I said, no, I want them alive. You want them alive? So yeah, then they had some conference behind the counter as to whether or not they can give us live catfish, and they finally agreed to give us live catfish. We put them in a bag, brought them home, and I wound up beheading and gutting the fish myself, which we have on video.
Animals were
But,
definitely
those
harmed in the making of
killed
this
right
game.
there in an awful way by that Chinese butcher. So I don't really feel bad about killing the catfish. It wasn't like, there was no chance of there being a born free moment here. So we had a cat
Born free
trainer come
moment,
in,
Christ.
and she brought 3 cats with her in cages, and we would evaluate the cats that day to find out which cat was behaving, well enough to actually work that day, because they get all moody, they're insane, they're cats, and they don't feed these things, the day before the shoot, and they perform based on reward. They love these little chunks of smoked turkey, and that's how they do their little things, and it was a huge deal. We paid more attention to this cat and the various issues revolving around this cat than any other talent-related issue. We had to have. There was a huge debate as to whether or not we needed cat insurance.
That's a very hairy cat.
From that day onward, any boondoggle-esque ridiculous issue was referred to as the cat insurance issue. Like if anyone went down some ridiculous trail, we were like, hey, man, that's just cat insurance.
I'm curious to see what the aftermath
When you're
is.
working on a game, the first year and a half, you really kind of don't know what you're doing. You're kind of fumbling around in the dark with your concept.
I don't think any of us really knew what, the public was going to think of it.
We had missed Christmas, and it was kind of, it was pretty depressing at that point.
Could you
When
bring
we
this out on
merged with
Christmas?
Pulse Entertainment, toward the tail end of production, it gave us the steam we really needed to complete the game. I mean, there was a level of organization and an impetus there that kind of lit the fire on us to push us over the finish line.
When we finally shipped the game in January, that was like the greatest thing, because I just gotten physical like a couple of months ago, and my blood pressure was like extraordinarily high.
So we went on the road to demo and promote Band Mojo.
Whenever we would go to trade shows, we'd take like a jar of roaches with us.
We had a pickle jar with 2 Madagascar hissing cockroaches in it. And these things, you know, they're gigantic. They're like this big, and they hiss, and they're pretty ugly. And I mean, this day, you could never imagine walking through the airport with a giant pickle jar full of cockroaches. You put them in the overhead bin, you know, and like every once in a while during the flight, we'd go in there and check, make sure they were okay.
It would repel people. Some people would just see it and they'd run away in fear, but it would draw other people in. It was a great conversation piece.
We were in a hotel in Chicago, and the cockroaches escaped the jar.
And they ran off somewhere, and we couldn't find them.
And we were just imagine the next person who comes into this hotel room and finds 2 gigantic Madagascar cockroaches. We turned that hotel room upside down. We were panicking. But we found them. The 2 cockroaches had like wedged their way into a little fold in the shower curtain, and we found them in there. It was hilarious.
You know, when we first started out, I couldn't see this thing winning an award, because I was like, oh my god, you know, in the thick of it, it was like really
you wouldn't expect it to win an award, would you? Not with other games around the same time.
A lot of copies, I believe, over 1 million copies.
Look at that.
How many awards we actually won? We got a lot of Envision awards for the writing, for the art direction. I mean, it was just a fabulous looking game.
It is a great looking game. I can't, in a disgusting way.
It's incredible.
We were on TV. That was really cool.
Wow.
How'd you like to wake up one morning to find out that you've been turned into a cockroach?
Something crazy happened when I looked at that necklace.
That's what happens to Roger Sams in Pulse Entertainment's Bad Mojo, priced at $59.95.
Well, $59.95. Fuck me. They aren't all new prisoners at that price.
But engrossing
Cool.
new computer game. And this is also you, the roach Roger's turned into. You'll be living life as a cockroach until you figure out a way to change yourself back into a man.
Maybe you like the cockroach idea, okay?
What a box art that is. That's great.
If you do.
Very funky, very addictive, not for the squeamish.
I don't know if I'd say addictive, because that
company gave us freedom.
that's more replay value, isn't it? Addictiveness, I'd say.
It shows in the end product of the game. You don't see a lot of games like that anymore. You know, there's a real formula to games now. There are these first-person shooters. There are these fighting games, these RPGs, but you just don't see anything that sort of out there and bizarre. And,
That I would agree with.
I mean,
The worst thing about Bad Mojo is just light on actual really good gameplay and needed a couple more puzzles.
Macworld Game Hall of Fame. We won an MVP award from PC Magazine.
Best role-playing game. That went under a
French
role-playing?
and a German version, as well as Japanese version. So we would go into the recording studio, and we'd actually look at these actors and direct them to do basically the same video with Roger and Eddie. It was just hilarious to hear them speaking in long German words in a movie we'd seen 1,000 times. The sync is kind of there, kind of not. You can't look at a Caucasian person speaking Japanese and think, wow, this is great stuff.
This wasn't rocket science.
Definitely not.
Okay, it was just us having fun when we were working 12-hour days and we were totally burnt out and goofy.
It was a close-knit bunch. I mean, we all had our roles, and they were very defined, you know.
I think one of the greatest things about doing this game was all the relationships I developed.
Thinking back on the whole production environment, it's a fun time that I you know, you don't run into a group like that very often, you know. And in my work later, you know, I haven't been that close with other people that I've worked with. It was a really cool, you know, old warehouse building that we worked in San Francisco with, you know, old friends that I've known for a long time.
Working with Drew and Phil and Vinny was like the best opportunity I could have.
At the end of the game, I had this terrarium where it must have had like hundreds of thousands of roaches. I mean, it was pretty big. It started with 12, and it was sort of, I didn't really know what to do with it. It was like, God, you know, if I took this
what
thing
did you
and
do
just
with
opened
it?
it up in the basement of some building, I could, you know, condemn a friggin' building, you know? So, didn't want to do that. So what I ended up doing was what we call the roach genocide.
Oh no.
I took an entire can of Raid and just sprayed the entire can of Raid into this terrarium and then just duct taped the whole thing closed and stuck it in a dumpster. And it's what else are you gonna do with 100,000 cockroaches?
Poor cockroaches.
I would really like to actually work on another game, like another version of Bad Mojo, and just kind of bring the band back together.
They should do a spider. Well, there is a spider version on PS1. We'll have to play Spider because I did put a couple of hours on that on PS1. It's actually got the gameplay in Spider is actually better than Bad Mojo, but Spider's purely 2D as well. It's like a 2D plane, but with a 3D backdrop. If that makes sense. I love that.
I always thought this game wouldn't do well. I thought it'd come out, nobody would play it because it's just
Yeah.
weird, but I was wrong.
That was really cool. I think what would have been nice, I love when games do like extra features like that. When you beat the game, you've got like a making of. I remember The Suffering doing the same on PS2, where you saw like the way they built the game, the way they made it, and the inspirations with the prisons and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they should have bundled this making of in with the game itself. So once you beat the game, as a reward, it'd say like, bonus content, behind the scenes or making of. I think that would have been a really nice touch to the game. It'd put like a bit of a bow on top, that would that'd do much more favorable reviews, I reckon, for people just trying it, because then you could actually appreciate the kind of how they had to make this game, and these concepts are so bizarre as well. Bringing this to life into again a pretty well made game. Again, my biggest criticism is I think it deserved that. I think it could have done with a couple more puzzles.
And it needs to be more like direction.
Yeah, they said they wanted you to feel like you're in this living, breathing world, which I understand because it's ultra realistic. You're playing as a cockroach, but at the same time, it doesn't really have a lot of direction, and the story is quite out there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't quite work in some ways, but I do appreciate the effort that they made. Right, Audie, what's your thoughts? Did you watch any of this? You've gone quite quiet. What is your thoughts on Bad Mojo?
Again, one thing you will take away from it, you've never played a game quite like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very unique, very memorable. Is it great? No, but you can have fun with it.
It's not, in terms of gameplay, it's not great, but I do think it's really, really cool in premise and stuff like that. Yeah. It's definitely original and kind of interesting. It's pretty much a novelty game. Everything about it is weird and not all that appealing to me. Also, I've never liked live action stuff in games. The documentary was better than the game. Oh, that's some strong words right there, but that's everyone's entitled to their opinion. A really cool making of, though.
Yeah, it was good information.
Yep.